The vast chamber of the Galactic Council glittered with light from 1,000 worlds. Alien leaders, generals, and envoys filled the hall. They had gathered for one reason, to see Earth's response to their threat. For weeks, the Council had demanded Earth's surrender. They expected humans to bring an army or to beg for mercy. But when the time came, the Council's great screens showed only one human ship sliding out of hyperspace. The sight made the chamber roar with laughter. One ship? Barked a scaled warlord from the Dranix Empire. Are the humans so poor they cannot build more? A thin, insect-like envoy rattled his mandibles. Perhaps this is their surrender. They send one ship to show their weakness. The laughter spread, sharp and cruel. For centuries, humanity had been quiet, barely noticed by the larger empires. They were seen as children, still crawling among the stars. Now, facing the Council's might, humans brought only one vessel. It looked strange, too simple, too plain. Its surface gave no clear reading. Alien sensors scanned it, but returned only errors. It was not covered in symbols, banners, or even color. It was just silent. The aliens laughed harder. A toy ship, one mocked. We could burn it with a single cruiser. But not everyone laughed. A few commanders leaned closer to their consoles, frowning. The ship, named the Dauntless according to the registry, sat perfectly still in the void. It did not answer hails. It did not move closer. It only waited, as if the humans knew something the galaxy did not. Inside the chamber, the noise rose. The Dranix warlord slammed a clawed hand on the table. This is what humans bring? A joke. One ship against 10,000. Others agreed. Voices overlapping, cheers echoing. Yet in the midst of the noise, Admiral Serac of the Valen Empire stayed quiet. His dark eyes narrowed at the screen. He had fought in countless wars, and he knew one thing. Ships did not wait like this. They are mocking us, hissed one delegate. No, Serac muttered softly. They are hiding something. But no one heard him over the roar of laughter. The Dauntless hung in the void, alone. Its design gave nothing away. It was not massive like the dreadnoughts of the Karzan. It was not decorated with weapons like the ships of the Torvek. It was plain, silent, patient. Aliens kept scanning, desperate to understand. Every scan returned. Static, noise, nothing useful. Some believed the ship was broken, that it could not fight. Others said it was an insult, humans daring to spit in the face of the Council. Still, it did not move. A strange tension filled the chamber. The laughter began to sound forced, nervous. Why did the ship just sit there? Why didn't the humans explain themselves? Perhaps they wait for our mercy, another voice mocked. Or perhaps, Admiral Serac whispered again, they wait for us to step closer. On the big screen, the Dauntless remained steady, like a predator watching from the dark. Time stretched on. The Council's pride grew restless. They wanted the humans humiliated. They wanted action. Destroy it, one general barked. End. This joke now. But another commander raised a claw. Wait, does no one else see it? Why send only one? No empire would do this unless they were sure. The Council fell into a heated argument. Some shouted to crush the humans instantly. Others demanded to capture the ship first, to learn what secrets it carried. All the while, the Dauntless floated silently, untouched, unmoving. Finally, the laughter grew loud again. The Council mocked, joked, and sneered at Earth's arrogance. Yet, Admiral Serac leaned back in his chair, uneasy. He studied the single vessel, its stillness, its silence. Ships in war did not act like this. Fleets did not send one alone. He lowered his voice, but the words carried more weight than all the laughter around him. Ships do not wait like that, he said. Not unless they know something. And in that moment, the chamber's laughter felt thinner, weaker, as if a shadow had passed through it. The chamber of the Galactic Council was never quiet. It was filled with voices, claws tapping, mandibles clicking, and tails striking the floor in impatience. But as the image of the lone human vessel continued to glow across the great screens, a strange unease settled in. The Dauntless did not move. It did not signal. It only waited. The council had mocked, shouted, and laughed, yet even laughter has its limits. Too much silence, too much patience, and even the boldest begin to doubt. A counselor from the Torvik Empire finally rose, his armor shining. "We waste time. Send a destroyer. Show the humans the cost of their arrogance." There were cheers in the chamber. "Yes, destroy it. Earn it. Let the galaxy see what happens to weak children who dare stand before empires." Within moments, orders were sent. Out in the cold void of space, a sleek alien destroyer turned its nose toward the Dauntless. Its hull glimmered with power. It was larger, armed with weapons tested in 100 wars. Against one ship, especially a human ship, it was more than enough. The destroyer sent a signal, loud and cruel. "This is your only chance. Surrender now. Humans, and perhaps the Council, will let you live as slaves." No reply. The destroyer's commander sneered. "Very well. You die silent." Its engines burned bright as it began its advance. In the chamber, laughter returned. Alien leaders clapped their hands, struck their tables, and cheered. Finally, the show would end. But Admiral Sarek did not cheer. He leaned forward, eyes fixed on the readings. Something was wrong. The closer the destroyer moved, the more its signals faded. At first it was only static. Then the video feed cut into fragments. The destroyer tried to hail again. No sound returned. And then silence. Every trace of the ship vanished. Not destroyed, not exploded. Simply gone. The chamber froze. The laughter died instantly. "What is this?" One counselor shouted. "Where is our destroyer? Find the signal." Another barked. Technicians scrambled, screens flashing as they searched the void. But there was nothing. No wreckage, no light. Not even the faint hum of an engine. It was as if the destroyer had never existed. All eyes turned back to the single human vessel. The Dauntless sat as it had before, silent, still, waiting. A nervous hiss rose in the chamber. Some trick, some illusion. "It must be interference," another argued. "Then send more ships." Anger replaced fear. The Council could not accept what they saw. Pride demanded proof. This time, not one, but 3 cruisers were ordered to move. Their combined power was enough to burn an asteroid field to dust. Together, they advanced toward the human ship. Again, the Council knocked. Again, they jeered. 3 against 1. Now it ends. The cruisers closed the distance. Their weapons warmed, their engines howled. They prepared to fire. And then it happened again. The space around the Dauntless shimmered like heat rising from desert sand. The stars seemed to twist. One cruiser blinked out. Then the second. Then the third. No fire. No explosion. Just silence. A heartbeat later, a single piece of wreckage floated free, half of a broken wing, scorched and empty. That was all that remained. The chamber was no longer laughing. Fear whispered through the Council. Some shifted in their seats. Others lowered their voices. What did they do? No ship has that power. Even our greatest weapons cannot erase fleets without firing. The Dauntless still waited. Still silent. At last, the ship broke its silence. A short transmission echoed through every channel, carried on human code. It was not long. Only 4 words. Step closer and learn. The words spread through the chamber like fire. Some leaders shouted for full war. Others demanded retreat. None agreed. For the first time in centuries, the mighty Galactic Council was divided not by politics, not by power, but by fear of a single human vessel. Admiral Sarek sat in silence. His hands clenched tight. He had seen battles lost, fleets burned, planets crushed. But never had he seen anything like this. He whispered to himself, voice low, almost trembling. This is no ordinary ship. This is something we do not understand. The council argued, voices rising again. But their laughter was gone. And above them all, the human ship remained, silent and waiting, like a hunter in the dark. The great chamber of the Galactic Council no longer echoed with laughter. The memory of 3 cruisers vanishing without a single shot hung heavy in the air. The vast screen showed only the Dauntless, still floating in the black void, its plane. Hull reflecting the starlight. The alien leaders shifted nervously in their seats. Pride burned, but fear had slipped inside their hearts. This cannot be, one counselor growled. No ship can do this. Then explain what we saw, another snapped. They are tricks. Illusions. The humans use deception to frighten us. But the chamber's silence betrayed them. No one truly believed those words. Out in the void, more fleets gathered. Hundreds of ships from different empires formed a wall of firepower. Their commanders refused to accept humiliation from humans. From the Draenix Empire, a warlord barked, advance. Show these humans their place. We will crush their toy. 30 ships surged forward, engines flaring bright. Their weapons were primed, their shields glimmering with layers of protection. The chamber filled with cheers from those still clinging to arrogance. Yes. Now it ends. Destroy them. Burn that ship to dust. But as the fleet drew closer, the same thing happened again. The space around the Dauntless rippled, like glass touched by water. The stars twisted, bending, and the light bent unnaturally. Energy. Readings unstable. A technician cried from the council's floor. Our scanners. They cannot penetrate. The words ended in static. One ship blinked out. Then another. Then another. The chamber gasped as, in seconds, half the fleet was gone. Not destroyed, erased, that the remaining ships panicked. They turned, desperate to flee. Engines flared, then silence. Every single ship vanished. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. No one moved. No one breathed. Then slowly, a faint shape drifted into view. A fragment of twisted hull plating. One small piece, all that was left of 30 proud warships. The silence deepened. Even the loudest voices found no words. Admiral Sarek leaned forward, eyes unblinking. He whispered, almost to himself, "This is not firepower. It is something else. Not weapons, not shields, something deeper." The chamber erupted again. Fear turned to anger. Anger turned to panic. Impossible. No technology exists like this. Then how do we fight it? We must unite our fleets. We must retreat. The voices clashed, louder and louder, until they no longer sounded like leaders of empires, but frightened children trapped in the dark. Then the Dauntless spoke again. A calm human voice, cold and steady, filled every channel. You wanted to. See our strength. You have seen nothing. The words echoed heavy as stone. Some counselors shivered. Others shouted curses. But none could deny the fear settling in their hearts. The humans had not begged. They had not explained. They had not even defended. They had only waited. And when the galaxy mocked them, they answered with silence and erasure. Outside, more. Fleets hesitated. Ships held their positions, unwilling to advance. The commanders remembered the vanishing destroyer, the lost cruisers, the erased fleet. It was not just defeat, it was terror. There were no wrecks to study, no survivors to question. Just silence and fragments, like whispers of a nightmare. And still the Dauntless waited. In the chamber, a trembling counselor rose. His scaled skin glittered under the lights. This is not possible. Humans are not capable of this. They have no great empire, no star forges, no ancient knowledge. Admiral Sarek finally spoke, his voice sharp. Perhaps that is why they are. Dangerous. The chamber froze. All eyes turned to him. Sarek continued, calm and grim. For centuries, humans have been quiet. Too quiet. We thought it was weakness. But what if it was not weakness at all? What if it was preparation? Murmurs spread. Preparation? You mean they hid this? One ship cannot. Sarek's gaze cut through the noise. One ship can. And it has. Back in the void, another alien fleet dared to test the human vessel. 10 ships advanced. Slowly, careful, cautious. But this time, the Dauntless moved. Its hull glowed faintly, lines of light spreading across its surface like veins awakening. The void around it bent and cracked with strange energy. The alien ships tried to retreat. Too late. A blinding flash consumed them. Silence followed. When the light faded, the void was empty once more. Only the Dauntless remained. The chamber shook. With panic, voices screamed, claws slammed, tails struck in rage and fear. What are the humans hiding? What weapon is this? This cannot continue. We must act before it is too late. But no one had an answer. The laughter that had once filled the chamber was gone, replaced by a heavy fear that no one could laugh away. And again, Admiral Sarek's voice cut through the chaos. You still do not understand. The council quieted. He stared at the screen, at the plain, silent ship. Ships do not wait like that unless they know something. And I fear we are only seeing the surface of it. The words hung heavy. No one spoke after that. In the vast chamber. Leaders of empires sat in silence, staring at the single human vessel that erased fleets with nothing more than stillness. And in the void, the Dauntless remained, patient, watching, waiting. The council chamber was a storm of fear and rage. Fleets had vanished. Destroyers, cruisers, squadrons gone, erased without warning. The leaders of proud empires, who once mocked Earth as a child, now trembled in silence. Yet pride is stubborn. Pride does not die easily. The Karzan warlord slammed his armored fist against the table. Enough illusions. Enough silence. If the humans truly possess weapons, let them show it. I demand blood and fire, not shadows. His roar was echoed by other generals. Yes, no more tricks. We will see the humans burn with our own eyes. Out in the void, the gathered fleets obeyed. Hundreds of ships from dozens of empires turned, their weapons toward the Dauntless. They formed a circle around the lone vessel, their guns primed, their engines steady. It was no longer a test. It was execution. Target locked, an alien commander announced. Across the stars, weapons powered. Cannons glowed, missiles primed. Plasma coils hummed with deadly heat. The chamber shook with the roar of voices. Fire! Fire now! And so they fired. The darkness of space exploded with light. Streams of plasma, storms of missiles, beams of burning energy, all aimed at one small human vessel. The void shook with their fury. It was a flood of destruction, a display of power meant to shatter mountains, burn cities, and erase fleets. For long moments, the Dauntless was lost in the storm. The screens filled with brightness, too great to see. Alien leaders leaned forward, certain at last the human ship was destroyed. Yes, someone shouted. Now the joke ends. But when the light faded, the council chamber fell silent again. The Dauntless still floated in the void, unharmed, untouched. Storm had ended against something invisible. Its plain hull showed no scars, no burns, no damage at all. The laughter, the cheers, died in the throats of the council, and then the Dauntless finally moved. For the first time since its arrival, the human ship turned. Its hull began to glow with thin lines of white light, sharp as blades. The air in the chamber seemed to grow colder as the ship awakened. Panels shifted open along its sides, revealing weapons no alien had ever seen. They were not plasma cannons. They were not railguns. They were something else, something new, something terrifying. The Dauntless aimed. A single line of light shot forward. One alien battleship, massive and proud, shuddered. Its shields collapsed instantly, as if they never existed. The beam cut through its armor like paper. In seconds, the ship cracked apart, splitting into two burning halves before exploding into silence. The Council gasped in horror. Then, the Dauntless fired again. Another ship fell. Then another. Each shot was precise, clean, merciless. Shields were useless. Armor was nothing. Fleets that had mocked Earth now screamed in panic. Retreat! Voices cried in the chamber. Fall back! Fall back! But the void offered no mercy. The Dauntless unleashed its guns, each blast tearing ships apart. Cruisers split in half. Destroyers burned in silence. Warships that once commanded fear were reduced to drifting wreckage in moments. It was not a battle. It was slaughter. In the chamber, chaos reigned. Some leaders screamed for vengeance, others for retreat. Some pounded the floor with rage, others trembled in fear. But Admiral Sarek did not move. His eyes stayed fixed on the human ship. He understood what the others refused to admit. This is no bluff, he said quietly. This is power. Power made in silence, hidden until now. He turned to the Council. His voice was cold. You mocked humans for bringing one ship, but one ship is enough. Out. In space, wreckage floated like broken bones. Fires flickered in the void. The screams of dying fleets filled channels before vanishing into silence. The Dauntless stood alone, surrounded by ruins. It sent another message. We held back. Do not force us to speak louder. The words echoed in the chamber. Every alien leader felt their blood run cold. If this was humanity holding back, then what would happen if they unleashed everything? The Council chamber was no longer filled with pride. It was filled with terror. The Dauntless had spoken. Its guns had answered. And the galaxy realized the truth. Humanity was not weak, not broken, not foolish. Humanity had been waiting, preparing. And now the silence was broken by fire. The Galactic Council chamber shook with shouts, laughter, and mockery. Aliens of every shape and size leaned forward, eager to see the single human ship crushed by the fleets surrounding it. Thousands of warships from different empires floated in the void, forming a wall of power. Against them, only one vessel stood, the Dauntless. Many aliens laughed so hard their voices echoed through the chamber. End this joke. A reptilian warlord hissed, pounding the table with his clawed hand. Crush them. Show the humans their place. Ships across the fleets charged weapons. Energy gathered in glowing cannons and missiles prepared to launch. The sky itself seemed to burn with power. Any second now, the Dauntless would be erased. But then something strange happened. The Dauntless did not move. It did not raise shields. It did not fire. It simply waited, silent and calm. Its strange black hull reflected no light. Its shape was smooth, unreadable, like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Some commanders began to whisper nervously. Why do they not act? Are they broken? Are they begging to be destroyed? Others sneered. Humans are fools. They always have been. Then, in that silence, the ship finally moved, but not in the way anyone expected. It did not charge forward. It did not fire. Instead, it released a single pulse. A soft wave of energy spread across space. It was silent, invisible to most sensors, but deep inside the fleet systems, Alarms began to blare. "What is this?" cried one alien admiral, staring at the warning lights flooding his console. Another commander shouted, "Our targeting systems, they're offline." Ship after ship flickered with chaos. Weapons powered down. Shields collapsed. Entire engines went dark. Thousands of warships that had moments ago prepared to fire now floated powerless, drifting helplessly in the void. Gasps and cries filled the council chamber. Leaders stood from their seats, demanding answers. What have the humans done? Admiral Serix of the Velari Empire, who had doubted from the beginning, felt his scales crawl with dread. His voice shook. That was no weapon blast. That was control. They reached into our fleets and shut them down. The laughter was gone now. Silence filled the chamber, but the Dauntless was not finished. It released another pulse, stronger than before. Alien screens went black. Communications were cut. The fleets that once shone like burning stars now drifted in cold silence. The void, which had been filled with light and sound, turned dark and quiet. And then slowly the ship spoke. A voice, human and calm, echoed into every fleet, into every council chamber, into every mind that listened. You wanted to test Earth. Now you see the result. We came with one ship, because one is enough. The words carried no anger, no threat, just cold certainty. Aliens across the chamber shivered. Some trembled in fear. Others clenched their jaws in rage. But no one laughed anymore. The Dauntless moved forward, slowly, like a predator that did not need to chase its prey. The powerless fleets could only watch as the human ship passed through them. Untouchable, unstoppable. In the council chamber, the ruler of the Karthus Empire slammed his fist onto the table. Impossible. This cannot be. But Admiral Serix whispered again, barely audible. It is possible. It is happening. And it means the humans have been hiding something far greater than we imagined. The silence grew heavier. The alien rulers, once proud and mocking, now felt a deep fear spreading through their hearts. If one ship could do this, what else did Earth have? How many more waited in the shadows? The Dauntless stopped again, hanging in the void. Its voice returned one final time. Leave Earth alone, or the silence you fear now will be the silence of your empires. The council chamber froze. No one dared speak. No one dared move, because at that moment, everyone realized the truth. The humans had come not to beg, not to plead, but to warn, and their warning had been heard. The council chamber shook with voices. Panic and fear replaced laughter. The great empires of the galaxy, who had mocked Earth only hours before, now argued like frightened children. Destroy it before it moves again, shouted a warlord. No, wait. If we attack, what if it calls? The others? Another warned. There are no others. Someone argued. It's only one ship. But the truth pressed down on every commander. One ship had destroyed 3 fleets in seconds. One ship had shut down the galaxy's proudest weapons. One ship had stood in silence. It made billions afraid. The Dauntless did not move. It floated, like a shadow in the void. No signal, no answer, no demand. Only silence. Silence was worse than threats. Silence made the galaxy wonder what else humans were hiding. Admiral Vayner, who had doubted from the beginning, whispered to his second officer, "That ship is not a weapon. It is a message." His officer stared. A message? What kind of message? Vayner's eyes did not leave the black shape in the stars. That humans are not afraid of us anymore. Across the galaxy, rulers ordered their fleets to retreat from human borders. Armies that once pressed against Earth's colonies suddenly pulled back. Trade ships gave wide space to human routes. Even pirate bands avoided human systems. No one wanted to be the next to face that silence dot in hidden chambers. Empires debated. How many of those ships do humans have? Perhaps only one. Perhaps hundreds. No one knew. No one dared to ask Dot on Earth. The leaders also stayed silent. They sent no messages, no threats, no explanations. The Dauntless returned to orbit, its engines dim, its crew unseen. Rumors spread among aliens that even humans themselves did not fully control it. Some whispered it was built by something older, darker. Others claimed it was human through and through a proof that mankind had leaped far ahead while the galaxy laughed. The truth remained hidden. Months passed, but the memory did not fade. Every time two empires clashed, they stopped when human. Ships entered the sector. Every time the Council tried to pass laws against Earth, silence fell in the chamber until the matter was dropped, because silence itself had become human power. Admiral Vayner met secretly with allies one night. He looked across the table and said the words all feared. The age of alien empires is ending. The age of humanity has begun. No one argued. No one laughed. They all remembered the image of a single dark ship waiting in the stars. Waiting, as if it had all the time in the universe. And deep inside, they knew. When humans waited like that, it was not weakness, it was warning. The story of that day spread everywhere through whispers, through fear, through silence. The Dauntless never fired again. It did not need to. The galaxy had already been conquered, not with war, but with the terror of what might come next. The aliens once mocked Earth as small, as weak, as late to the stars. But in the end, the galaxy learned something simple and terrifying. Humans did not need to shout. They only needed silence.